Wait, you guys haven't heard? It's the Very Real Fantasy Football Show!
You love that every time.
Yeah, he's a real dick for that one, isn't he? That's good, man.
Touchdown.
No, top of the line craftsmanship on our intro.
I agree.
You didn't freaking know.
You guys haven't heard. No, it's not a straight up ripoff.
No.
From the New Age Outlaws.
You know what
It's Weird Al like inspired, I think.
I just think it's the best. It's so good.
I do love it. Fantasy football for real. Eric Pettigo, Eric Kranz, and the man with the largest, most just towering birthday of all time.
Oh, go! I was like, come on, say physique. Towering, dude.
Huge Dan, Big Dan Bot. Oh, look at you.
Creeping into the coffin.
Yeah.
Just
God, I feel like I'm just sitting next to some older guys here.
Yeah.
Does reek like mothballs now around me.
Well, Eric, you and I are spry young 44-year-olds.
Yes.
Tiny guys.
Our friend Dan over here?
Was yesterday.
Creaky Dan?
Creaky Dan.
Just 45, dude.
Oh, man.
You boys want to sip on any Ensure with me?
Actually, you got some.
Right?
Yeah.
Chocolate ain't bad. Ain't bad. Had it in the hospital my last day.
A little chalky. Yeah.
Yeah, 45 hurts. Not so much for me, but to hear it from you assholes. That's where it hurts.
Not here so much.
Today was going good, not even thinking. Just, it's my birthday, not thinking about the age. Not thinking about how you guys got a little bit more time on the planet than me. Cocky 44-year-olds, you young bastards. I remember being your age.
I bet you do.
I
Barely.
purposely sent you guys both birthday messages early in the morning just to let you guys both know how old you are.
To set the tone. What the fuck?
Goddamn early. I was clearing the cobwebs just trying to get coffee going. I'm like, well, who's texting me right now? I'm like, oh, Kranz up and at him.
Son of a bitch.
I was on my way to work already.
Yeah.
I think I texted you when I was at work already.
Doing old person shit right there. Getting up at 5 a.m.
5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Getting to drink some coffee at Hardee's.
Yeah, well, none of us are getting any younger. Such is life, but
still big though for a 45-year-old. You know, it's like 310 now.
no, oh yeah, which is big. Yeah,
Huge.
we can't do many of the things we used to do in our 20s, but one of the things that we still do is, for some reason, play fantasy football.
Yeah, that's
And run our mouths.
Yeah, yes,
and I still do dumb shit like I did in my 20s in fantasy football. Still making dumb trades, dropping the wrong dude. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, yeah.
Stupid.
Never too old to make fantasy mistakes.
Oh,
No.
you actually get too old and you start out thinking yourself with all your years of knowledge. All they do is you'll play in a league with the guys like, oh, I set my lineup last minute, haven't read a thing, and I got
Destroyed you.
Yes. Hate
yeah,
it.
I hate it too. You know what else I hate? CeeDee Lamb.
How?
Well, in one of my leagues, which is actually the league that is the most money to be a part of.
Did you
I'm
play
up.
against them?
I'm up significantly.
Oh, all right, here we go.
Significantly. Going into the fourth quarter of that game.
So you were like that Bears guy on, on the Hail
dude,
Mary.
I was.
You're taunting the fans.
I was letting them know, like, who got
Suck
this?
my shit.
Who got this? Shaboy got this.
I
That's
love
what I'm
every
saying,
ounce
dude.
of this story.
And I'm up, Yahoo's like giving me the 99% to 1%. Like, there's no way CeeDee Lamb scores two
You can
touchdowns.
go ahead
in
and
the
head to
fourth
the
quarter.
bathroom and JD your roster already.
Yeah, dude.
Dunzo.
I did. I was thinking about round 2, but I'm 44.
Finished.
Yeah.
And then CD.
So I was just ready to take a little nappy.
You fell
Just
asleep.
take a little nappy. And, and then all of a sudden, CD touchdown. I'm like, okay, so it's not great because now we're really close in points. Like, he's only 1 point down. I still had Pittsburgh's defense to play on Monday Night Football, which is a great matchup.
So you're feeling high-eyed.
The best matchup. But, yeah.
Game.
And I'm like, all right, well, it'd still be okay. And then he catches another touchdown. And I'm watching, and
do the math.
it's
Yeah?
double because for me, I'm mad that he's scoring fantasy points on me, and I'm also mad because my beloved 49ers are the ones allowing this to happen.
That is right.
Yeah.
That all checks out.
Yeah. And then,
Dude, this is getting juicy.
yeah. So then he's up big, and then I've got almost no chance to win. And then on Monday Night Football, Pittsburgh has a great game. I end up losing by 1.5.
You had the special teams love because
Dude,
you had
yeah.
that touchdown return.
Yes. Yeah. I'm like, here we go. I got a chance.
A little something.
1.5. So the highest scoring team in that league was the guy I played against. Second highest, me.
That's it. Yeah, it's a tough one to
Took
take
an
on
L,
the
man.
chin.
That's fantasy.
It is.
Yep.
How many times has that happened to you? I mean, I know you can't really count, but it's so unbelievable how many times in your life when you play fantasy football, you will be the second highest scoring team in a league for a week and lose. Because what are the chances?
That was me week 1 in our radio league.
Right.
And then this past week for my second loss,
I present to you.
There was somebody who was the high point scorer, and then I was third, and I played the second.
Yeah.
And I lost by 4 points.
Stupid. Fantasy football is so stupid.
I don't
I'm
think
like-
it matters how the dick gets there.
Yeah.
If it's there, then
Yeah.
you got to count it.
It's there.
Yep.
So,
Yep. So
sorry about your mouth.
there it is. Yeah. No, fantasy football, man. What do you do? But we
I'll
just.
tell you, you guys are talking about, the week. How about this? I'm second in points. I'm 3-5, but I'm second in points against.
There you go.
So suck on that.
Yeah.
That hurts.
Yep.
That's what it is. And we keep coming back for more abuse.
Like
dude.
it's
We
going to
just-
change.
No,
I
it's
just played a
never
team
going
who's
to
been
change.
dead in the water for 3 weeks, comes out of nowhere, and it's the resurrection. He just Undertaker's out of nowhere, just rises up, puts up like a Bill 66 on my tummy, and dips.
Did he have a tight end go all the way off?
Probably. He probably started two that just.
Because we're going to talk about that because next year I'm setting an alarm on my phone for tight end day
Tight end day.
because I
Yeah.
didn't realize it was tight end
I
day.
did. Scott Hanson's such a corny, cheesy
Yeah, dude.
idiot.
Well, yeah, I did, but I knew then, but like going into the week,
oh, yeah. You got
and
you got
until tight ends were just knuckles deep in me.
And
you know
they
what I
all
mean?
know.
Dude, the best week ever of tight end.
You like that?
it. Just buttered up knuckles just with tight ends. Just.
Couple of buys this week, Pittsburgh and San Francisco. But aside from that, we can jump into some of this news. A guy we all have stock in that we've talked about on, I think, every episode.
Don't you do it. It's my birthday.
It is Anthony Richardson. Hey,
I'm tired.
he's
guys.
tired.
I'm tired.
He's tired. He was really tired, so he needed to come out. But he's got plenty of time to catch his breath now because Joe Flacco took a jab.
I mean,
You're so defeated.
bro, that news.
Happy birthday to Dan.
That news hit me directly in my prison beaver.
I don't know. I've never heard that term.
I just made it up,
I
dude.
feel like
And all my years on Earth, I haven't either, and I brought that one to the table.
I feel
so
like the
right
first
there.
8 minutes of this show might get us canceled.
It
But
might.
yeah.
It might, but
That's okay.
My prison beeve is scuffed.
Your PB. Yeah. So Anthony Richardson on the bench. Joe Flacco.
Oh, you suck when Flacco is the answer. No offense. I get it, but seriously, man, 39-year-old and you spent that high of a draft pick. First of all, Anthony Richardson should have got the Jordan Love treatment. We
Yep.
can all agree on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Yes.
And now he loses his job to a guy
His jib.
who's old enough to be his mother.
That's a tough one to take. It's like, I know this isn't football, but all the guys on the Spurs are calling Chris Paul Unk. So that's Unk. Unk's out there just slanging.
I thought about that old enough to be his mother joke on the way over here, and I'm like, I'm delivering that one today. That's a good one. Yeah.
But
that's
it's
a good one.
true.
Yeah.
I
it
mean,
is.
Flacco is just out getting his, and so is his mom. You know what I mean? Same time, riding around getting it.
Oh my God, dude! I almost
He almost spit up all
I
over
almost
his
shot
equipment.
Insure out of my nose.
Straight up. It's tough. The consistency of it won't allow for it.
Okay, so the fantasy fallout, though, this is great news if you have Josh Downs and Michael Pittman.
Yeah.
Great news.
Almost anybody besides Anthony Richardson
Yes,
Owners,
great.
yeah.
on the Colts.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah. There's only one guy. That's all right. He can rest. Rest up, young lad.
He's still he just needs time. He needed to learn a little bit more of the NFL before they just start. When they throw these quarterbacks in that do not play enough games in college, and they expect them to dominate in the pros, and then they fail, which we as fans pretty much look and know it's going to happen, and then they're surprised that their confidence is shot and that they're not as good. And I'm like, you need to let them learn a little bit more.
Everyone wants to rush it.
Yes, like they just need to be Super Bowl or bust year 1 or 2.
So
and I'm like,
stupid.
come on. Like, they need, yes, there's growing pains. That's going to happen. You drafted somebody who's young and inexperienced.
You and I have talked about it, EC, how we used to wait, even in fantasy, for the third year. There'd be articles, third-year breakout for quarterbacks and wide receivers.
Yes.
Now it's by the third year, they're like, is this dude a bust? Like, are you kidding me?
It's 24 years old.
It's not even a question. If by the third year...
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's not a question.
They're a bust.
They're a bust.
That's what we say. Right.
It's terrible.
So it's...
Look at Jordan Love, dude. The development he was able to receive. If Anthony Richardson is probably as experienced or less experienced than Jordan Love was in college, I don't remember Jordan Love's like accumulation of games.
Right.
But I can tell you Anthony Richardson played like a handful.
Like 12 or 13 games
like
in
someone
college.
pouring you out a few M&Ms, that's how many games he played.
No, I mean, we talked about it on earlier episodes. He was getting like his 18th start of his career
since high school,
or like earlier in this season. So
there's 32 of those starting jobs. Half of them suck. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, in comparison,
it's a very hard job. You can't just throw a young kid out there.
So in dynasty leagues,
he's a hold.
You hold on to him and it'll be fine. No brighter days are ahead. In redraft leagues, are you safe to just dump him right on his face?
You can drop him because if he gets in, so be it. It's not like he's going to come in and light it up. He's been the worst quarterback in a century.
Yeah, he's been really bad. Redraft leagues, you can.
I tried peddling him in Dynasty before the news dropped, just a gut feeling, and I just couldn't get a deal done.
Feeling.
And then the news dropped, and all the declines came in faster. And fuck.
Yep.
So fuck you guys, man. Sold me that bag of dicks and dipped on me. Someone come get your boy.
So the other night, actually, it was about a month ago, but I rewatched Road Trip. You guys remember that movie?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on.
Of course.
I live in the past.
One of the funniest lines ever. This is so not fantasy football related. So you remember they take the shortcut because if it were easier, it would just be the way, right? They take the shortcut, they wreck the car, they have to like walk away. And then the next day, the parents are there with like the police. And this investigator walks up and goes, if I had to guess, I'd say someone was raped and murdered here last night. You remember that? And the parents go, why would you say that?
That's a terrible guess.
Just a feeling. It looks like.
It's a feeling. Yeah. That's my fantasy prognostication every week for my team. I'm like, just a gut feeling.
It just made me think of that when you said, I just had a feeling. It's like, just a feeling.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
I had to guess.
Too.
All right.
Forgot about that scene.
It's so good, right? So anyhow, Anthony Richardson, hold him in Dynasty, drop him in redraft. Deontay Johnson goes to the Baltimore Ravens.
I like it for the Ravens, don't like it for fantasy.
Agreed.
I was going to say, Dan had discussed about trying to do a trade for him before, and we said don't do it. And I bet right now you're glad that you didn't do it.
Glad. But my gut, again, trying to win now mentality, I was trying to jump ahead of it in case it went to like somewhere where you're like, oh, shit, should have got. Now the value goes up. Glad I held.
Yes, because right there it's like
28 years, it's just a feeling. Smells like a murder on that trade, so I declined it. And yeah, you both brought up valid points. I sat on it for a second and said, you know what? I'm going to hang on to my one pick. And he's 28 with locker room problems from what I've read.
Yes.
I'm a well-read fantasy person. I don't read anything else.
Well, it's his third team in a season and a half.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot to just
I think it's a good rental, though, for Carolina this year. I think it was smart. It gives him depth. He's going to have no rush to get him on the field.
Sure.
But if you're a fantasy owner, no rush to get on the field means no rush for you to get points.
I think it helps Lamar out. It hurts Zay Flowers.
But the tiniest bit?
Yes.
You know who's going to get hurt the most out of this?
Mark Andrews.
No.
Your boy Bateman.
Happy birthday.
Untouchable.
Happy birthday. It's
Jason
Rashad
Bateman.
Everyone that I've ever got drunk off their upside shows you why I'm homeless.
Yep. So I agree with all that. I've got Deontay in a league, and I already packaged him up and tried to send him over, because one thing that you can do in fantasy is when a guy does get traded, if people get kind of excited about the potential of,
D-Hop to KC. People
right.
are like wetting their beak 4 points this week. He's washed.
Well, he was only in on 23 snaps.
It doesn't matter.
He's going to be in on a lot more this week.
Jamar Chase could go on 23 snaps, and he's going to get you 23 fantasy points.
But yeah, with DeAndre Hopkins is no Jamar Chase.
No.
But not
people get that.
not anymore.
People
No,
smoke that hype like it is. They're like, oh, man. Shit.
Kansas City, wide receiver to Kansas City.
Yeah, and D-Hop's in the past been they're like, it can happen.
So asking for a friend, McCorder sent my friend a trade offer, a 2027 second-round pick for D-Hop.
So you get the second rounder?
Yeah, in 3 years. I know, I'm just...
Why don't you get your phone open right now and do it live?
I'm 44. I'm hoping I'm still around.
Oh, Christ.
3 years to...
I literally almost died 2 years ago in the offseason. Still manned up, played all my leagues, commissioned a league.
Not funny, dude. I'm not laughing.
Even gave passwords to people like, if I croak, take over this league, name the trophy after me with like a big dong on it. I don't care.
I'd like
Keep
to
it
try to
alive.
get a second-round pick earlier.
Well, we all would, but
Yeah.
people, it's going to be here. 2025 picks 2 years ago were laughed at, and everyone's like, oh, fuck, those look
Yeah,
tasty.
no, it'll get here, and then you'll be happy to have it. Anyhow, no, I've decided. I made this decision.
I can tell you one thing: in 2027, DeAndre Hopkins will be a zero factor for your fucking
Yeah,
team.
100%.
There's
100%.
that.
That's a great way to look at it. So I did, earlier we've talked about, I'm going to maybe blow up my team. I don't know. I'm still scoring some points. I could turn things around. I made the decision earlier today. I'm blowing it up.
Yes, I love hearing it.
Yeah.
Someone else joined me in the misery of dynasty blow-ups. It's horrendous.
I'm blowing it up. So,
Oh, it hurts.
yeah. So it's going to happen.
Hope you like your prison beaver just mauled.
Dude, I've deconstructed a dynasty team before
They're
and built
going to
it
say
back
a
up.
prison beaver. I'm like,
Which you like your team now since you blew up in the other league.
Oh, in the radio league? Oh, dude, I love it.
so wait,
My
you're
team's sick.
You're blowing it up in the Chris?
Yeah.
I'm already blowed up. I can't even buy anything
even
off
buy-
you.
no,
there's no
I'm,
point in you
non-fan.
buying.
I'm just glad you're joining me, bro. Come on down.
I'll keep a few pieces, but yeah.
You keep young pieces, obviously, that you look for long term, and then anything that's older, you're like, hey, you want to give me some draft picks?
There you go.
I'll take them.
There you go.
But don't get frustrated when you'll end up with a couple old guys you just can't get rid of.
There's nothing you can do.
I got Stafford and Mike Williams. I can't do anything to get rid
Yeah,
of.
no, there's nothing you can do. It is what
you
it is.
just let them age on your bench.
Yeah, dude. Just
Stafford's
nice-
real happy to be part of my 1-6 team.
You just let them do their farewell tour right there on your team. It's all right.
Pray they pop for one
Mm-hmm.
big game and you can get like a third ski in like 2029 or something. Fuck.
All right, some more fantasy news. Stephon Diggs torn ACL out for the season.
I seen it.
More bad news for the Houston Texans. C.J. Stroud has not been startable really all season, and this doesn't help things. And they play tomorrow night.
If you're dynasty, obviously tight hold, but redraft, I would try
Say tight hole.
tight hole, tight hold.
Ah.
I got you thinking. Some
I
real-
mean,
Tight hole, prison
I got
beaver.
you thinking.
What are we talking about here?
I got him thinking about that chocolate starfish and that glizzy flavored water.
It's just- you are so 90s, dude.
This time I'm gonna let it off. All right, where were we?
Something about a tight hold.
Yeah, CJ Stroud.
Oh, yeah.
tight hole.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so you want to
You're not
hold
going
him?
to drop him.
No, but in redraft, that's a different mentality. You're dealing with an off year. That's different.
Yeah.
So his value is tied to just this season. I would try to take somebody kind of package it with some, like try to do a quarterback wide receiver combo swap.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's an option because I don't like it.
Let's see. Nico Collins is supposed to be back
When
in
he
the next
comes
couple
back,
of
that
weeks.
could flip the script, but
right?
Next week.
Next
Week 10.
week.
But he's still got to work into football shape, and their offensive line isn't giving Stroud the time. So
Right.
I had heard that Nico's already running like running fine.
fast as you?
I mean, not as fast as me.
Okay, then he's not full speed.
but,
You're
but
the-
he's
you're the
running. He's
measuring
running
stick.
20 miles an hour. I run like 22.5.
Yeah, you
so
do. Jesus. Get on your horse.
Yeah. So
kilometers.
I wish you could put you on a 22-mile-an-hour treadmill to see what would happen to your
I'd fall
hamstring. or
right
your
on my
knee.
face.
Good stuff.
No, I wouldn't even be able to. I would just
shredded beef. Do you think you'd plant and your leg would go flamingo mode?
I would get down. I'd get 2 steps, and my face.
You get
would
2?
just-
I think you plant
Well,
your
that-
foot
well,
and
that's
you
me.
shred.
Well, that's one, and then the next one is me trying to catch myself, and the next one is my face going into the front of it, and then getting like road rash all over from.
I would like to see like a treadmill already going 20, just humming,
Right.
and then you got to stand there and then jump onto it.
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
plants on a full speed
Yeah.
treadmill, just shredded me.
right, we'll
Like
watch
those
it.
flipping.
All right.
We'll watch it.
We'll set it up. I
mean-
got a treadmill at my house.
So are we
I'll bring
still-
it over.
We're still talking about turning this into like double dare, like
Yeah,
a few ask for my
100%.
friends and then
Yeah.
the physical challenge.
We got to do something when the season's over. We'll just do a podcast of us doing things.
talking dynasty
Yeah.
stuff and just doing stunts.
Dude.
Physical challenge. I'll take the physical challenge.
Oh,
God, none of us would be saying that now.
just all call our insurance agent and see where we're at.
All right, let's try this. What how do you feel about Tank Dell tomorrow night at the Jets?
Again, I like the volume he's presented with, but
Mm-hmm.
it's still the same problems they had with Diggs. Is they don't have time, and now all eyes on me.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of Joe Mixon. That's who we're
Yeah. Oh, that's what you
Wow.
want. That's what you want.
It's gonna be a lot of Joe Mixon.
best running back points per game right now.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you what I want. What I really, really want.
90s.
AO, and I think it's the radio. I want Mixon, but I think he still thinks he can win it all.
He's got him in the Chris League. I don't know if he has him in the radio.
He has
too.
him in radio.
He does.
I traded him. I traded Mixon to him in the
Okay,
Chris League.
because I'm trying to give
Yeah.
him like a Firstie and Tillman. Like, you need some future, and I need this now.
I won that one though
I've-
because I got
I-
Zamir White.
I've sent some stuff over to first, and he's like, no.
I'm gonna wait till it's mathematically out of it. But far as Texans go, I'm not trusting that passing game. Let Nico Collins come
Right.
back. I'm telling you guys, that offensive line, I did a deep dive this week because of something I saw Dan Orlovsky say about their offensive line. I'm like, didn't really notice that. The run blocking's fine. It's the pass protection that they just
Okay.
can't get right. So CJ's getting blown off his spot too quick and getting sacked a bunch. So
All right.
that's something to consider.
Well, Nico coming back, I mean, should help things some. And then
How could it not?
I think Dalton Schultz is an interesting play going forward.
Yes, they got to get him involved somehow.
Asking for a friend, Dalton Schultz or Kate Otten this week.
Kate Otten.
Kate Otten.
Okay,
Yeah.
I agree.
Everybody
Just
get your
making
Kate
sure. I
Otten.
mean, that's what I told
Dalton
him to.
Schultz hasn't done anything
Nope.
the entire
He
year.
really hasn't.
Kate
I mean,
Otten's been
nothing,
surprisingly quietly delicious.
Somehow,
Especially the past 2 weeks
Yeah.
with guys out. They're like, I'll throw it.
Especially.
Jordan Love dealing with some groin issues.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, right.
Hell,
I mean, he's going to be one of those guys, I feel like, where it's every week there's that cue by his name for
How dare
for
you.
always.
I mean, I'm already dealing with Richardson, same league. I mean, I'm falling apart at the
Dude,
seams.
it's just he's probably going to play. He's just always going to have a cue. Always be a cue.
Yeah.
One of those guys. He's the Wes Welker of quarterbacks. Always a cue.
That's unfair because this is all leg issues. Wes was like
just
serious
straight up
brain
dome.
trauma.
Yeah.
Dog.
Yeah.
Like the hits he took are nothing compared to Nancy Love.
Was Wes Welker the Molly guy? Did we? Okay, he was the Molly guy. And we
Triple stack.
We celebrated his 10-year Molly anniversary.
Yeah,
earlier
triple
in the
stack
season.
of his
Yeah.
lies.
Congratulations, Wes.
Way to try to fib out of that one.
Christian Kirk out for the season. Broken collarbone.
They almost had him traded. Remember, he was on the
Close.
Yep,
So close.
Not getting traded now.
Hopefully, you weren't relying on him.
No,
And then, so this is interesting. I think we've brought up Bo Nix a few times on here. Bo Nix is currently the QB 12.
sneaky. He's got
And-
feet.
Yeah, and if you take away the first 2 games of the season where he was just learning football,
True.
he'd be better than the QB 12. I don't know. I didn't do that math. I
He
just
runs
saw
like
the first
a
2 games.
Flintstone,
Yeah,
bro. Just like Yabba Dabba Doo. He just scoots. He just.
but dude, he's legitimately good in fantasy.
He had a lot of games in college that he played, so he was coming in much more pro ready than say an Anthony Richardson who had 13 starts in college. He came in with like 65 or 70 or I mean it was ridiculous. He's older, came in as a 24-year-old rookie.
We are really letting Anthony Richardson have it this week, and I'm okay with that.
It's not even like against that. But I do it more towards the general managers and the coaching and
Yeah.
the thought process of it. That you think that you can outsmart so many other people. Like, oh, he'll just be ready. Now he has to get experience playing, but
Well, he didn't help himself with his "I'm tired" this
just
week.
be like, oh, my leg hurt.
I've never seen that.
I got
ever.
the wind. I got the wind knocked out of me.
I mean, old ass dusty quarterbacks like Rich Gannon and Neil O'Donnell never changed, and Vinny Testaverde never got tired.
90s.
But he also runs.
Hey,
But
sweet hat, what's that say?
Wayne's World from the 90s. Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Yikes.
So,
Busted.
Bo Nix and the Broncos go on the road to take on the Ravens this week. You guys off the top of your head, or unless you can see the computer, do you know the Broncos' record?
Broncos, I want to say, are 5-3.
The Broncos are indeed 5-3.
Yeah.
Who would have thought, man?
Dude.
The Broncos are 5. They're out here winning games.
Their defense has been
excellent.
I'll tell you who thought
phenomenal.
that. Stupid Broncos fans, probably.
Yeah.
Which-
Schwinny.
Shout out to those idiots.
Stupid morons.
And I don't know a lot
Love
about
you-
their
love you,
defense, but who are their superstars on defense that just, besides Patrick
They
Surtain?
got Patrick Surtain,
I mean,
yeah.
besides that, I'm
nobody that's selling jerseys, but it's a collective scheme. I think
Just-
it's working.
Yeah.
just a great job.
Best fantasy D. if
And
you're
you
into that.
know that there's some Broncos fan out there is going to hear that and be like, "You guys don't know blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah. One
No.
of the best outside blah 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 blah.
If you
The
don't
best
sell jerseys,
pass
it's not.
rushing blah 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 blah."
It's false.
Shut up.
Sometimes we can't
Stupid
complete
Broncos
sentences.
idiots.
When we get older, sometimes
Such
we age. We
idiots.
just can't complete
Hate you
sentences.
guys.
Still a better fan base than the Cowboys, but that's for another
Barely.
discussion.
Yep, but the Broncos are 5-3 somehow. Never would have guessed that. Ravens also 5-3. And then
One of those teams is going to finish in the playoffs. The other ones could finish with one more win.
hard saying who.
It's definitely the Broncos.
Okay, the Ravens just lost to the Browns.
That was an anomaly. That's the Jameis Winston.
I don't know if it will be an anomaly going forward.
Bro, it's an addition by subtraction. Everyone wanted Deshaun Watson out of there because he could not hit the broadside of a barn.
Right.
Jameis Winston comes in there with the weird inspirational speeches and
love
just he's everything.
Dude, I love him.
He's a national treasure and needs to be protected at all
He
costs.
needs to go into the Hall of Fame when his career's over.
Oh, he will just for the speech.
That's what I mean, just for who he is.
I mean, his bust should be him eating a W.
Him eating the W.
Come on. It's the best. He's
Oh.
the best.
And he's like offering it up to his teammates. Y'all want to eat this W?
Everyone's
No,
like,
dude.
no.
Nobody wants to lick your fingers,
No,
bro.
dude, I'll eat my own
Right,
W.
yeah. I'll eat
I'm
my
more
own
of an
W,
L
bro.
guy.
So, but that was nuts, man. I knew they would look a lot different with Jameis in there because he throws the ball to receivers. And
I mean, that's just how bad Deshaun Watson is
So
at
bad.
football that Jameson Winston was like
They traded away Amari Cooper,
yeah,
for now.
so their best receiver, and then you bring in Jameis and he puts up 300+ yards passing, which Deshaun Watson has not done once, I think.
in Cleveland, right? And they scored over 20 points, which Deshaun Watson has not done with Cleveland this season. It's their first time with over 20 points this season, and the first time since Deshaun Watson's been quarterback where they've had over 300 yards passing.
He is
And
a
I-
terrible person in football.
Yeah, sure,
And it's
yeah.
the Browns with the guaranteed contract, and you traded away all those draft picks, and it's such a Cleveland Brown move.
I feel like
Stupid
Deshaun.
Why? Like you're stuck with them for another 2 years and like $90 million.
They're gonna cut him next offseason.
Then they are going to get like a $90 million
don't-
cut.
I would
mean,
rather pay that
needs
money
to
and get
happen.
him the fuck out
I
of
would
town.
try to keep him on it. Now that he's injured, the insurance is going to cover it, like what they have. So I'd keep him off as long as you can. Like, you're not ready, man. You're
He
not
won't see
ready.
the field this
And
year.
then the best part, right, when he's writhing in pain and he's out and they're carting him off and the crowd's all booing him, which is just perfect. And then his teammate, like Myles Garrett, did you guys hear the Myles Garrett soundbite?
It's
Kind of, but it
absolutely
said
He's like-
he's a good person.
He's been a model citizen.
Yes.
He's mostly hasn't had any issues. Like just
that one minor
There's
blip of like
one
33
thing,
accusations.
Oh
of
my
blah,
god,
you know.
dude! What are you doing?
Miles Garrett also ripped his helmet off and swung it at it.
he took off his skate and tried to stab a guy with it.
Yes, so-
90s.
Yeah.
I mean, in all fairness, if you got in like 42 car wrecks every Sunday, how stable would your interviews be?
But so now, there's some bright news in Cleveland because Jameis is out there giving inspirational speeches.
Oh, he's gonna start getting back into his rhythm of where he throws the ball away. and
yeah. But
he's going to have some terrible games going forward.
there will still be production, though, because with Jameis Winston, there's
It's
always
volume.
offensive. Yeah, he's a volume shooter. Exactly,
Yes.
man. And he will turn the ball over, but he will also be chucking that ball all over the place. And Cedric Tillman last week, 7 catches for 99 and 2 touchdowns.
Fantasy's #1 wide receiver.
If he's out there in your league,
He shouldn't be
worth
in
a
the
flyer.
flyer. We're in because
Yeah,
I took him before that happened.
not the ones that we're in. No, not the super deep, 27 roster spots, dude. There's nobody's available in those leagues.
those leagues.
But in a normal league where there's like 16 roster spots and there's just actually guys on the waiver
Yeah,
wire.
he needs to be rostered in all formats.
Yeah, he's worth picking up for sure.
I bet you he is right now.
I would.
After this week,
Yeah,
and
people
the
can't
week
resist.
before, he was solid the week before. So
I will right now. Give me 1 sec. I will. I'm going to look it up and see in Yahoo leagues, like how much he is actually rostered. And I'd imagine, and I should have connected to your Wi-Fi before I promised to do this because I got no service down here. So
Yeah, dumbass.
next week I'll let you know.
Oh, that's gonna be great.
Super timely.
some of those
Great
are
job.
weird also whenever they say that because a lot of leagues people just don't even play. They make leagues and everybody quits and.
Yeah.
Hey, just from now on in our fantasy league, can you just mail me the stats? Like
Yeah.
write them down longhand.
Oh,
and
God,
just
dude,
mail
do you
'em.
remember playing with Ray Lytle
And
back
we get
in the day?
emailed the stats because there wasn't a
He
site.
had some like blog site, like that he had, and
It was weird.
Yeah, he would update it randomly. He'd had to actually do all the math.
Yeah, and I never trusted it, especially when he'd get me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I'm going to count my players anymore.
Oh man,
Motherfucker.
there was something fun though about that.
It was cool. It was
Yeah.
like getting a newspaper back in the day and checking last night's ball games.
Not being able to see this right now, dude. I'm watching Red Zone. It's bouncing around from game to game. Every time I see my guy make a catch, my phone goes bloop and it automatically changes. And it's
so cool.
dude.
People don't know how tough it was to be a fantasy baller back in the day.
They have no idea. Let's see. All right.
Damn kids.
So last week it was National Tight End Day, and I had to make this note because here's what we saw last week. All season long, the theme has been tight ends suck.
So much.
They've been
They're
horrible.
the worst. I hate them.
Yeah.
We almost went to the point where we were like, we are going to vote them out of our leagues.
Yes. Yeah.
Or turn it into a tight end premium, something besides
Something.
they just exist.
Here's what we saw last week. K-Dot, 29.1 fantasy points. Kyle Stupid Pitts, who we've
Big
absolutely
dummy.
pooped on all season.
All season.
Actual poop.
Kyle Shits is what we were
Yeah.
calling
25.1. Sit. Did that work?
Sit, Ubu, sit.
Lay down.
Is that 90s? Is that 80s?
Yeah.
Damn, I'm old. Where's the beef?
Travis Kelce, 25 fantasy points. George Kittle, 24.8. Trey McBride, 21.4. Adam Troutman, 18.5. David Njoku, 17.1. Sam Laporta, 16.8. And there is more. It keeps going.
yes,
There's a whole page of tight ends getting double-digit fantasy points all last week. What the hell, dude? Why, when they're like, hey, it's National Tight End Day, are they really scheming to just throw tight ends the ball on this day? Is that what? I feel like this happened last year.
It did. Also, is there a National Anthony Richardson Day so he can fucking give me my money back or play good or not suck ass? I'm so pissed.
Yeah.
I mean, I invested way too much in that fucking asshole. God damn it, dude. I don't even want to so much dynasty capital down the fucking drain.
So
On this, the day of my birth.
okay, so National Tight End Day. All right, so this is how they do it. It's the 4th Sunday in the month of October.
That way they're playing on National Tight Ends. Day,
Yes.
Pieces of shit.
Yeah. So mark it in your phone next year. So going in, and I know going in,
Start all your tight ends.
tight end is definitely going in the tight end spot, which I now refuse to relinquish. Tight end spots are holding strong after last week, and I'm putting them in all of my flex positions.
You're a recency bias motherfucker for that
100%,
because
dude.
it's so
100%.
it's so stupid of a position this year.
It is.
It used to be you'd get X Factor guys like Rob Gronkowski and Jimmy Graham and shit, and you'd be
Yeah.
like, that's the key to a title. Now it's like there's not that.
there can be, but it changes.
It's-
like last year you had Sam Laporta. It was like a rookie, a second round rookie that people drafted late. If they drafted him, was the #1 tight end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crusty though.
Well, he was good last week. Oh,
Finally.
pardon me.
Take it easy there, old filler. That insure will
That
give you the
insure's
burps.
bubbling up.
Give you the bubble gets.
You haven't been drinking your Ovaltine, have you?
Oh,
Rich chocolatey.
bro.
Can we get sponsors?
God, we're so old. Not there. Everything we've mentioned is out of business,
Yeah, is Ovaltine nice?
except for Insure.
Insure's good to go.
It's-
Trust me.
yeah.
Your boy's been sipping. But I've been mixing it with lean or whatever the kids talk
No,
about.
you haven't.
No,
But there's only
absolutely not. But come on, let me at least for 1 minute.
George Kittle is the only guy this year that's a real X factor difference maker. He's averaging 18 fantasy points per game.
That's stout.
Took over as the number one
Yeah.
tight end.
Brock Bowers is at 14.1.
Not shabby.
No, but it's not, like you said, it's not an X factor. That's not a.
No. X factors, we're talking like the 22-point guys, like on average. Like I'm saying, that era we got spoiled with. Even Travis Kelce was in that era.
Yeah. Where you're the top wide, like you're
A wide receiver one.
yes, you're a top 5 wide receiver playing.
Now
tight
we're
end.
like, oh, he's a tight end one instead of being like he's a fantasy factor. It's like, well, he's good for a tight end. It's like, I'm healthy for a 45-year-old.
There are currently 11 tight ends,
You're good at math.
not counting Blake Whitehart, who had one game where he got you 10.3 fantasy
Oh,
points.
Blakey poo.
they're averaging double
that are
digits.
averaging double digits in full point PPR.
Damn, giving him that cushion too.
Yeah, and there are only 3
Count 'em.
who are averaging over 12 per game. So, I mean, that tells you that's
Shitty position.
That's between 10 and 13 points. That's the rest of them. There's 3 that are averaging you over 12, and then everybody else is between 10 and 13. And
I
then
liked Tony
there-
Gonzalez back in the day. That was a fun one. Not little Tony.
Little Tony
Not
Gonzalez.
Little Tony.
But instead of being like wide receiver 1s, they're kind of like wide receiver 3s. Or,
Yeah.
They're
kinda like-
lower running backs. Because there's some wide receivers who are, I mean, you can go look them up real quick. You have
Hell.
some that are your studs, and then some that are down there that they're 12, 13, 14 points is what they're averaging.
Okay.
And we're like, oh, put them in. Who was, everybody was loving who? Wandale Robinson?
Oh, Wandale. Yep.
But what's he averaging?
I don't know.
10 a game, 11 a game.
No one would trade him.
I don't know,
dude.
but
a PPR,
your
you
tone
got to
is
start
kinda
them.
shitty right now about it. Yeah.
Well,
It's not Daniel Jones' fault.
I got him in a league. I got him starting, but he's not like a superstar.
It's certainly not. He's averaging 11.9. That would make him like tight end 4. I'm not joking.
So he'd be right there.
He'd be an elite tight end this year. No, I mean that's but no, you're right. I mean, you're looking at once you get into like 12 points a game, 13, you're like Marvin Harrison, DJ Moore, Khalil Shakir,
Some
I mean,
names that sound sexy and some that
Yeah.
don't.
Some of those names are like, oh, you got to
Zay
start them.
Flowers.
Obviously, you're starting them. Yeah, I drafted
Well,
them early
we're-
first round. The
We're
dynasty.
At, we're at the point in the year where guys who have been your savior all year are going to let you down for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And there's guys who have let you down all year that are about to be your fucking savior. It's just the way fantasy goes. There's very few guys that go
Yes.
bell to bell as your hero.
Yes.
So
Yep.
lineups are going to be ever changing.
First half, second half guys.
We talk about it all the time. It's hard to digest, but I promise you there's a guy sitting on your bench right now who's going to save your soul.
Yeah. Well, guys on my bench are going to save somebody else's soul.
Yeah,
'cause
they
I'm
are.
trading them
You've
all.
said Beetlejuice 3 times.
Yeah.
It's over.
But fourth Sunday in October, mark it next year,
Mark it
National
down.
Tight End Day. They get fed on that day for whatever reason. Let's talk about the Rams of Los Angeles, because last week, who knew? Thursday night game, we did a Wednesday show, as we always do. We had no idea that Puka Nacua was going to play.
Because they were saying like, they may act. They weren't talking about him for sure playing a lot.
Yeah.
He's a warrior.
It was like maybe
He's awesome.
maybe he'll be activated, but we don't know. But
So maybe his Puka wasn't quite as Nakua as we thought. Thought about that.
So when I talk about blowing up my roster but holding on to some pieces,
Pookers.
I've got my hooks.
Dirty,
in Puka, dude.
greasy hands.
He's not
all
going
over him.
anywhere. But last week he makes his triumphant return out of nowhere. I had to activate him off the IR. I'm like, what? Oh, whoa.
It was quick.
They're like, all right, he's off the IR. And I'm like, okay, cool, I'll move him. They're like, but he might play. he's playing. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? All right, I'll get him in the game.
I just pictured Sean McVay going, quick decision. And he did. And Cooper was back too. And
Is
now,
that okay? That's an In Living Color.
yes, 90s, bro. That's all I got, man. It's the last time I was fucking cool, bro. What do you want? You want me to dig into some I tried Glizzy before and you guys weren't down.
In Living Color.
I brought all of my Riz
can
today.
do
You're
what
just
you
Sigma
wanna
in my
do.
Riz. bro.
Yeah.
Ohio skibbity nuts.
Dude. Puka comes back, 7 catches for 106.
Fire Marshal Bill.
No, I know. That's how I knew. Because I know. I was there too. You know,
Let me tell you something.
yeah. I mean, you were born in the 70s, so you got.
that's all right.
You've seen a whole nother. This is, hold on. 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s.
Is that all the hits?
No, the
Time
teens,
Life Warner.
20s. Bro, this is your 6th decade that you've been a part of.
That's a lot of work I put in. A lot of work I put in.
You don't think to do like a balloon. You see, it's never too late and it's never too soon. Take it from me, it's a height to be in living color. You guys
can
remember?
do what you want. Scoo-doo-doo. In living color.
Another guy, Cooper Kupp, comes back. 5 for 51 and a touchdown.
Why not? I mean, someone come and get Stafford from me. You guys are competing. I know you need a QB. You
I don't.
pussies.
He's
I don't. I had Anthony Richardson. I picked up Joe Flacco.
I hope he
Now
goes
you're
down.
good.
You'll be begging me.
Now I'm good.
But last week, when Matthew Stafford gets his players back, he is the fantasy or the QB 24 on the season. Last week, he was the QB 4 with his pieces back.
He was happy to have his guys back.
You kidding me? Yeah, 37.5 fantasy points and 6 points per passing touchdown leagues, which, side note, is what they should all be. But
Good side note.
yeah. But Matthew Stafford, all of a sudden, looking tough.
I mean, that arm of his is ready to
Dazed
throw
and
for
confused.
3,000 yards.
90s.
And it's a movie about the 70s.
Yeah. Have you heard that? Okay, it came out in like 92 or 93.
So it'd be like a movie about the class of what, like 2004 or some shit?
yeah, like
now?
not even that, dude. Like 2008 or something.
Christ. It's not even funny. Wouldn't even be cool.
I know. Who
God
cares
damn
about
it.
that? Yeah. Tua makes his return last
I held
week
my
as
breath
well.
every snap.
Who wouldn't?
I am a Tua owner, and I need him now that I have like a bunch of pusses at quarterback.
They're like, you going to wear a Guardian cap? And he's like, nah,
Nah, dog, I go raw.
nah, fam.
Did you see him slide though? He actually ran and
Yeah.
he slid. I'm like, there you go. Finally.
I mean, he's
Thank
like,
God.
if Magic's good, then I'm good.
Yeah, same. Totally same thing. Yeah.
You know,
Meanwhile, Devon Achan's back there in his Guardian cap, like, not trying to
he
miss
looks
any more
even
time.
smaller with that thing
Yeah,
on.
he
He
does.
looks like some backyard
but
football
he looked
video game.
fast.
Well, I was
He
getting to
is
that.
fast.
Yeah. So Tua, 234 and a touchdown.
Just
I
getting
mean,
warmed up.
Pedestrian day, right? But just his presence being there.
Changes the. I mean,
Raheem Mostert being out there. All of a sudden, Devon Achan, a huge fantasy day on only 10 carries. 10 carries for 97 yards, 9.7 yards per carry. That's the guy that we saw last year.
How many catches did he have?
6 catches for 50 and a touchdown.
they've still been a Ferrari while Tua's been out. They just didn't have a starter. So how good is that car?
Right.
It sits in the freaking driveway, man. It does nothing for you.
Yeah.
They put the starter back in, and like you said, all of a sudden it's like, whoa,
Changes
the offense
everything.
works.
Yeah.
And they get the confidence back of like that we can win, even though they didn't. But they
Yes,
feel like they can.
look like they got a shot.
Instead of walking out there and being like, our quarterback's terrible.
What
We're behind the
quarterback do
A
you
ball
have?
already. Like we're not going to
Snoop
win.
Huntley, Licks, Skyler. He's dog shit.
Xavier. I don't know. Or what,
Yeah, Xander.
Xander.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
it is. Yeah. But yeah, 26.7 fantasy points for Achan now that he's got the team back and he doesn't have to carry the entire load on his
Chest or
petite little
back.
shoulders, dude. So he's back out there. So that's good to see. Tyreek Hill had 6 catches for 72.
Brighter days ahead, I would hope.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. So that's good news for anybody who has any stock in
Miami.
Miami. Mm-hmm. All right. What else do we have?
Algonquin.
What else you got on the list?
Is that the
list?
I've done the list.
We've done the list.
Is Kirk Cousins off this week? Because he's a trap god now. You guys need to get him in your lineup.
A trap god, you say?
Watch his pregame speech. He said, "We gonna run up in the trap, make it our trap." I don't know what he's talking about.
Hold on, did he say that for real?
Yeah, his pregame.
Oh wow,
That's awesome.
I'm sure the younger guys in the locker room are egging him on to do this stuff. He's not the kind who just wears the chains. They're like, wouldn't it be funny if we got Kirko chains to wear these chains? He just plays along. He's a good sport, and I just think it's hilarious because he was telling them about the trap. He's a trap god.
And he's like super religious. So when like that QB show on Netflix was out and he's just mic'd up out there and he does something, but he's like, oh, gosh darn it. It's
Justin Jefferson.
It's so funny.
Was at his house watching film one time, and he said Kirk Cousins' wife came down and they like exchanged pleasantries, and then they kind of stared at each other for like 2 minutes, and then she walked upstairs and he said, "Geez, Justin, I'm so sorry you had to see that. That was our first fight." Justin's like, they wild over there, dude. He's just such a mild-mannered person. To him, that was embarrassing. Like, the wife gives you the look. It's like, to him, that was like, yo, sorry, that was our first huge fight.
So
get the trap god in your
we can take a peek at the schedule then and just kind of touch on a few things.
do a little touching.
Thursday night game. You guys stop me when something pops out that you might want to talk about. Houston at the New York Jets. Anything. All right. Yep. Hated it. Oop. In living color.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hated it. I know all the good. Yeah, I love in living color.
Dallas at Atlanta.
So what? What you want? Trap god.
Yeah.
Get them out there. You're still hauling all your Falcons out there. You got nothing better to do.
Well, I will tell you this. Something that I found when I was looking through things on my way before I left. Do you know where Bijan Robinson is right now as far as
like his location?
Running back. Yeah, I think he's in Atlanta. As far as his ranking this season
like
for fantasy.
Whatever it is, it hasn't satisfied me.
What do you think it is?
8th overall. I don't know.
Eric had it right on the money. He is
5.
running back 5 on the season. I was kind of surprised to see that. He's averaging 20 fantasy points per game.
That's impressive, and it doesn't feel like it.
And you're not satisfied.
I'm not. It doesn't feel right. Like something feels like it's not snapping off enough.
He went like 10, 11, 13, 14, 26, 26, 25, so the past 3 games have been over 20. You just haven't
Maybe
seen
it was that slow start.
It was a slow start, and you haven't seen a 35.
Yeah, I just want a banger like that 50 burger, like the stamp.
Oh, he just won me the week. No, he's been like one of the.
He's been chipping in.
Yes, I mean 20 plus.
He's, I've been doing my part. He's not been like, I didn't do fucking shit.
His last 3 games, I mean, you said it pretty much right. He's been double digits every game this season, but his last 3 games have been 23.6, 23.3, 25.5. I mean, that's
some sexual healing.
Yeah. That should make you feel a little bit better. That should at least make it move a little bit.
It's dancing a tiny bit.
Yeah, Derrick Henry, number 1 overall.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That he's just holding that spot. He's the king.
Kamara, number 2.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of dinged and banged, just staying alive.
Always.
But Henry's like 30 plus points above the number 3. Like Kamara's just a few points below Henry, like 14 or something, and then there's a big drop. And there's a big drop, and there's a few guys right there.
Is Carr coming back? How's your boy Olave?
He's on the trade block.
Talk to me, boy. He's Ohio State. Let me talk about it.
Yeah, you're right. Saquon is number 3, and Derrick Henry has 31 more fantasy points on the season than Saquon Barkley. Let's see, but Saquon's had a bye, right? So, yeah, Henry, because he's only averaging a point more per game.
I'm just trying to think of the Bengals offense in my own homer selfish way. If they had either Saquon or Derrick Henry, which I wanted them. They were semi-linked to some rumors about Derrick Henry, never about Saquon. But that disappoints me because you see what a difference those offenses have experienced with those running backs.
You have seen running backs come back this year more valuable, which is
if you give them fair deals, it's a great deal. You just can't Todd Gurley them.
Derek Carr has no injury designation.
Okay, so that offense I know he's a chode, but that offense, fantasy-wise,
He's
functions
just as
under
wide
his-
as he is long.
Yep, he's just a can. God damn. Yes, he's a square. So with Derek Carr, it's so weird because you hate to start him, but he's the only way that offense is even remotely functioning.
Yeah.
On a fantasy scale.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so and on the Cowboys side of the football, Rico Dowdle is still out, and I don't want anything to do with Dalvin Cook.
No, I saw a 2-6 team in one of our leagues pick up Ezekiel Elliott after his big
Good call.
10-point game.
Yeah.
That should help you.
Yeah, no, I might as well see if Emmitt Smith's floating around out there too.
Might as well just try crack.
I picked up Dalvin Cook in one league just to see.
Just to test it.
Maybe. He's been on the practice squad and nothing. So I said, all right, I dropped.
But you did the right thing, and you immediately
Dropped
vacated
it.
the situation.
Yeah.
No one will ever remember you
I
dabbled.
was like,
in
let
that.
me see what happens. Let me see what happens.
If you'd have strung that relationship out, you'd forever be linked as the
Yes.
douche.
Broncos at Ravens. Are you thinking
Caw.
about sticking Deontay Johnson out there?
Nah, you can't. You got to wait
Agreed.
and see. They're going to wait and see. They're not going to rush him. He may not even be active.
We talked about Bo Nix earlier.
Hell yeah, we did. Dug our Spurs into that
I
one.
think you have to start looking at if you have him sitting on your bench, depending on who your starting QB is. You got to start thinking about it a little bit, right?
I mean, it just depends on who you have.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you got the 10 dudes above him, you might want to stick with that.
I mean, what if it's Baker?
Yeah, I'm
starting
sticking with
Baker.
Baker.
Okay. What if it's C.J. Stroud?
I might go Bo Nix, dude, all of a sudden.
Yep.
Yeah.
It hurts my pride,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, that's where we're at.
He
I think.
runs.
he runs.
He runs and
like
and
a
he's-
Flintstone, I told you.
And he's a gambler. He'll throw it. He'll make
Nothing you like more than a damn gambler. Got to know when to hold him, know when to fold him.
Yeah, I think that's probably the line. I mean, everybody else I'm looking at. I mean, you're not going to have both of these. You're not going to have Aaron Rodgers and Bo Nix, and that's your decision. That's not a thing, right? Nobody's
it could
got
be,
that.
but I
Yeah.
mean,
It could be if you drafted Anthony Richardson
Yeah.
as your number one.
And
Okay,
then that's your 2 and your 3.
Bo Nix then or Joe Flacco.
Bo Nix.
Nix.
All right, there it is. Bo Nix or Jameis.
Bo Nix.
Bo Nix.
Okay, all right, here we go. And who's he throwing the ball to in Denver?
Bo Nix.
Bo Nix.
Call Malone.
Multiple different guys. Besides the 0, not this past week, the week before, Cortland Sutton.
Yeah.
But had I think he went over 100 yards this past week. But there's he's got Troy Franklin out there. He's got
Yeah, his
Th-
old
th- then
college mate.
there's other guys that you just don't feel
Troy
comfortable.
Franklin
starting.
might start heating up.
He might, right?
could,
We'll
but
see.
but he dropped some passes that he
That's in the
shouldn't have
past,
Everybody does.
dropped. I mean, everything's in the past. Literally everything.
except for what we're about
That's
to say
true.
next.
Yeah. Yep.
We haven't said it yet.
But it will soon be in
future.
the past. Watch.
Bet you several gigawatts.
All right. Dolphins at Bills. Dolphins obviously have Tua back, like we said, so we feel a lot more comfortable with Tyreek Hill and Devon Achane. Jalen Waddle still hasn't really got anything going. He's been dropping passes. He's been looking bad.
I mean,
Yes.
even in Dynasty, I'm at the point where I'm like, you got to trade this dude.
Yeah.
You can't because you're not going to get.
You might. I'm still dumb enough to pay up for him.
I mean,
You
you're
what I
buying
mean?
names.
That's
gotta
your
trade
guys'
this dude
problems, dude.
To me.
That's your problem. You got to assume that everyone is not as smart as you, and see. That's why I sent out Anthony Richardson deals to where people wrote me back like I wouldn't fucking touch him with a dead raccoon tail. Like, cool. Now we know.
Right.
A little excessive.
Right. You have
Could
to
it-
be so mean. It's
but-
my birthday.
Right.
But I
Decline
don't
buttons
know.
there for a reason. but I didn't know me sending over a trade was a proclamation of rape. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to find you in an alley. Dude, I just sent you a request, declined it. I'll walk away. I'm not going to keep.
On the Bills side, anything jump out?
Keon Coleman.
I was getting ready to say.
Hell.
Since Cooper's gone over there, he's definitely stepped up and looked
Well,
good
yeah.
at least the past 2 weeks.
I think they're both going to start feeding more and more as the season goes. Dalton Kincaid. I mean, that's a lot of good weapons. Josh Allen's the man.
Shakir gets to be more in the slot where he should be. Where
he'll have his weeks.
so.
Yeah, I think Shakir's a solid flex pretty much every week. But Keon Coleman in the last 2 weeks, 18 fantasy points.
He's
and,
like a wide receiver too, low end too.
and 16.5 fantasy points. So he is still a rookie receiver.
Very young.
Yeah.
But he's still got Josh
So
Allen
young.
hucking the ball and single coverage.
and getting better, and Josh Allen trusting him more, which you like to see.
And the proof is in the numbers. The last 2 games, he's seen 7 targets each game. So Josh Allen is
I'd
trusting
like to
him
check
more.
the proof in the pudding. I'm a little hungry.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean? I appreciate the other proof, but let's get some pudding.
You got a B-Day dinner coming right up, buddy.
I'm old enough
Hang
to have
tight.
me some pudding. It's about 5 o'clock. It's time for
you
my
need
bedtime.
something soft. That's real. Yeah,
When you get to be my age, mashed potatoes don't sound too bad.
I love mashed potatoes.
Hey, dude. MCL cafeteria looking ass.
Saints at Panthers. Gross, yucky poop.
Say it. What's that matchup again?
Saints at Panthers.
My brain couldn't even hear it. It was
a combined 3-13 on the season.
I mean, you look at the Saints on paper, and it's sexual.
yeah.
Start naming those guys. Kamara.
Ooh,
Kamuro. How do you?
it's Kamara. You did it right the first
No,
time.
but I'm trying to do it.
Yeah.
Kamuro.
Kamara.
Like the car I'm driving.
Yeah,
the
like the Kamara.
You look at the receivers, you're like, man, oh, I forgot. Fucking Shaheen.
You know, he's out.
Yeah,
Did
I
you
know. And
Yeah.
that's what just all of a sudden it came to mind. I'm like, well, they got the two good wide receivers. God damn it.
They don't.
They got one.
Yep.
So, yeah, take your chances, New Orleans, man.
They've
I
got
guess
one
it's
receiver, and Derek
suckers.
Carr still will refuse to throw the ball
bet
to
your-
him
you
because
bet your
that's
ass.
what happens.
I look forward to getting Waddle and Olave tonight from you pricks. You better live up to your.
Yeah, no, I've got some work to do. Olave's out. Raiders at Bengals. Anything?
As a Bengals fan, you probably want to pass me the mic on this one. I'm going to give you guys a quick
It's your birthday,
lesson
buddy.
here.
It's your special day, Dan.
Trust everyone. Just don't trust that they're going to go anywhere in the real football season. Like that's
Yeah.
where I'm at.
Bengals are
Fantasy wise,
3-5.
they'll treat you right. I think it's going to start being the Chase Brown show, though.
Agreed. It should
I think
be.
going forward, if you can get anything for Zach Moss, cool. If you have them both, hang on to both.
Okay.
Someone gets a little limpy, then they're really good. But I just don't think Zach Moss is as dynamic as Chase Brown.
No, Chase definitely looks a little more spry out there whenever he gets it. But he hadn't really done too much yet.
Played against his twin brother last week. That's
Yes.
pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. How about that? That's
Hey,
fun.
little feel-good story.
They both went to University of Illinois.
Yes, they did. And look, that's a squirrel water ski.
That squirrel can water ski.
Isn't that neat?
Early 2000s, so we're coming along. We're getting there.
I'm making my way up to something more relevant, you glizzy sucker.
Chargers at Browns. God, it's one of these weeks, isn't
That
it?
is
Yeah.
real skibbity.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the Browns plenty. We haven't really mentioned the Chargers much. Lad McConkey had
Finally had a huge
Go
game.
Chargers, go.
yeah, but he's a rookie receiver, so you put him out there if you need to.
Yeah, Lad McConkey is my prediction for the next steady Eddie, like PPR dynamo. I hate to say anyone,
Like Keenan Allen?
Welker. Yeah, like Keenan Allen.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Someone you can just count on, like, all right, dude, he's not going to blow the top off the defense and get you an 80-yard touchdown, but he's going to chisel him for 11 snags, and you're going to love it.
Commanders at the Giants, but the Commanders snuck away with one last week. Huh,
Yeah,
Eric?
dude.
Go ahead, buddy.
I don't really want to talk about it.
All right.
It was
fair
so
enough.
funny
How
how
about
that dude was, like, egging on the audience. And,
That
like,
was so great, man.
Well,
Still tipped
they
it.
shouldn't even have won the
Fucking
game.
dork.
Like the Bears
He's like,
were losing the entire game anyway, so
Yeah.
they shouldn't have won anyway.
look at you trying to hedge all the shit that already. You guys sat on a fucking bike with no seat. man.
Oh, dude, it was terrible. It was.
How's
terrible.
that prison beef treating you?
oh, PB. Yep.
I'm more upset about what, like, you come off of a bye. As I was talking to a guy at work, I'm saying, like, some teams are stronger after a bye. They come off a bye and they look like, holy cow, they had a
Had
great
2 weeks to prepare. Rest.
Some teams come off and don't. And
They're
that's-
rusty.
And that's what looked like with that offense, because what the fuck was that?
So angry. Hey, I will get to the
I mean,
actual Bears in a minute. They are 2 games away.
like
but
30 okay. You told me to get going. You can't.
you said you didn't want to talk about it.
Well,
It's
then
a
you guys
lie.
waited. You guys were waiting, all right? You planted the seed,
Yeah,
and you wanted it to blow up in my
It
face.
took a little bit for
what
the
she
seed
said.
to pop out of the soil, but once it did, that plant was angry.
All right. Well, the Commanders at the Giants. The only thing I can actually think of fantasy-wise that's worth mentioning here
Neighbors
is,
awesome.
well, obviously, like he's in, obviously. Tyrone Tracy is all but taken over that starting job in the backfield from Devin Singletary, who's been irrelevant the last couple of weeks. However, Tracy went out with a concussion last week, and it was Monday night.
Blue tent, saint it.
They haven't declared him out for this week yet. But man, I would be really surprised if he plays. After.
Well, you two idiots said last week that Marvin Harrison Jr. wasn't going to. You'd be surprised if he played, and he played.
And he did okay.
And were you surprised then?
I mean,
Still surprised, probably.
Yeah,
So,
I was still surprised.
But no, I'm not surprised because you can't see it. So they can say he passed the freaking concussion test, flying colors, bro.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, and I guess it depends how bad the concussion is. But Marvin Harrison's went down hard. But a lot of them, they've sat him the next week. Like a lot of and that's kind of been the emphasis. On
I mean, to me, a brain injury needs like a year to heal, regardless.
You would think.
So they're like week or two. Like, how much healing does the brain do in a week?
They're like, what day is it? And they've got a 1 in 7 chance.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, it's just.
How many fingers am I holding up? God, I hope 5. 5?
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yep, you got it. You're in. So Marvin Harrison, I mean, we talked all that shit last week, but I had him in my lineup.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I told you I was starting his ass.
Yeah.
And I started him too.
Yep. So, but keep an eye on that. I mean, if Tracy plays, great. He's doing. Yeah. He's excellent.
You've got the Tracy and Neighbors show. Anyone else on the Giants? Your season sounds like it's already in
Wandale?
jeopardy.
I mean, Wandale's a decent flex.
Your
option.
season's probably in jeopardy if Wandale's in your starting
he's
lineup.
an elite tight end. Patriots 2-6 at Titans 1-6. See what I mean? Football's so stupid.
That game can
dude.
go directly to hell.
And we tune in every week. We are glued to the TVs to watch 2-6 against 1-6.
I would tell you in deeper formats, he won't ever get respect, and it's definitely a dart throw. But Westbrook and Keeney,
Sure. Yeah.
all he ever does is when he gets opportunities, is cashes them in. For the past 3 years,
That's
and
true.
everyone just dumps him back on the waiver. Teams don't give him more chances, but when he gets his chance, so if you're looking for a dart throw, I bet you he gets in the end zone because that's what happens. Shitty shit happens.
There's and Tony Pollard has been on a terrible team. He's been
roughing
the
people up.
only bright spot there.
Boy,
And-
I'm glad I went and got his handcuff just in case that was a 50-50 backfield. The more I look at that trade, the more I want to either kill myself or kill you or murder suicide. You know what I mean? Like there's 3 options on the table. That was one of the – no, you don't get it, dude. I traded – you don't fucking get it, okay?
It was a great trade.
I had to lock up a backfield, so I traded Baker Mayfield, a second-round pick, and someone else tasty. Who else? Confess. Who else? It's probably so many players.
Darnell Mooney.
Yeah.
Oh, Darnell.
Yes.
I was like, oh, let me get Darnell Mooney. He's
For
like, he's
Taj
terrible. I'm like, I
Spears.
think he'll be good.
Who's been hurt?
Tajay Spears, a 3rd-round pick, and Colby Parkinson.
I'm a glizzy sucking motherfucker.
And a super flex. It was a great move by me.
Bears at Cardinals.
Yeah,
Huge
move on
move.
for sure, dude.
No need. I mean, real quick, I think we have to bring up DeAndre
not
Swift.
not that game. I mean, from what
Yo,
we were
yeah.
just. Thank you.
Yeah, no. Okay.
Before we move past the terrible game that we were talking about,
Okay.
I just want to say, but he went out concussed, but in the 2 games he's played, Drake May
Oh, yeah.
has looked really good.
Agreed.
Like he has looked,
Well,
just
in
say-
all fairness, Kenyon Drake looked good at one point. in his
Yeah,
career.
well,
I mean, so did you and Eric and myself, but
I've
now,
never
now
been
we're
good
old
in
and
my
crusty,
career.
so
I've always been marked questionable.
that's true.
Big Q next to my name.
But I was just like,
But all the guys we talk about are half our age, so they still have a chance.
yes,
to
but
be
NFL wise and fantasy wise, he's looked good out there.
Most
Yes.
will end up owning a car dealership at best after their career.
I mean, that's a
That's
solid
It
route
is.
to go down.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's
Not bad.
or insurance salesman.
All right. Bears at Cardinals. I mean, is anything jumping out like holy crap?
How about
guys?
them
Holy crap.
Cardinals?
Yeah.
How about Kyler Murray's resurrection?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Michael Wilson here and there.
sure.
Harrison's
Not volume. Like Michael Wilson would get a touchdown.
He's a
here.
year there.
Dart throw.
I wish he'd get a little bit more volume. I think he's a great
Yes.
receiver. I love that James Conner just keeps on
Just
keeping
solid
on. I guess.
James Conner.
I don't get it.
How is James Conner still just out here being a fantasy stud?
It's his running style, man. It's
incredible.
It's
Just
he
a
doesn't
power running-
He's never lost a step, so he doesn't. You know what I mean? It's just gonna be a matter of taking the hits.
He doesn't lose yards. Like he just keeps, he
Yeah.
always falls forward.
Yep. All right. So, and I wanted to bring up DeAndre Swift because the last 3 weeks he's been over 20 fantasy points every week.
He's back in your lineup again. A guy who started bad and now could save your fantasy season.
Yeah.
A lot of his are 1 or 2 plays that he can just take it to the house.
They
And then
count.
you're like, you were bad. Oh, 45, 50-yard run for a touchdown. Thank you.
You ride that right now, just like J.K. Dobbins, till the wheels fall off.
Yeah, that's going to be I think my big piece that lands me the most draft picks that I want when I trade him.
What is Swifty?
Yeah.
McVay. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Jags at Eagles.
I think Trevor's kind of coming into his own fantasy wise.
Big Trev.
I don't know that team's going to be much better, but I think
They just shipped off their left tackle to Minnesota.
that hurts. That was,
but
Sorry,
I guess
Trev.
they had benched him the week before, so they're
there
like,
you have it.
we're not going to
Wasn't even-
re-sign him.
Christian Kirk hurts that,
Yes.
but they've got, Thomas is hurt now too. Shit, I'm starting to think about it.
They haven't ruled him out yet, though.
Okay.
He's day-to-day rib injury.
But there's some pieces in Jacksonville you can play.
There are.
Tank Bigsby and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's just,
Agreed.
if you're a fan, don't expect playoffs.
No. And for the Eagles, kind of a return to form last week for, I think, everybody, right?
Yeah.
How did AJ do?
He did all right.
Solid.
He wasn't his superstar self, but still 13, 14
Yeah,
points.
he didn't lay an egg. He was fine. Devontae Smith.
He didn't lose you your week. He didn't he didn't win you the week.
Devontae Smith came out and did okay. Jalen Hurts had a huge game. And Saquon is an absolute stud. So
Yes.
Lions at Packers. This is probably the game of the week here. Lions 6-1, Packers 6-2.
That is a must-have game divisionally speaking for both teams.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It all rides the matchup fairness, I should say, all rides on the health of Jordan, Sarah Jessica Parker Love.
Yeah, got that groin injury though, so keep an eye on him. But
He ain't having no
He
sex in the
wants to
city.
play, but they've looked just as good with Malik Willis out there.
They have.
Pretty
Credit
crazy.
to Malik Willis and the Packers organization
Yeah,
for just
for
getting
being-
them ready. Like, okay, Tennessee couldn't even do.
No, but you see what they've done with all their Tennessee's where people go to die talent.
Yes.
and we could have the same conversation every week about the Packers receivers outside of Jaden Reed. So we don't need to do that again, right? But it's-
No, that's discussion's over.
Yeah, take your pick and see what happens.
Yep.
Rams at Seahawks. Talked about the Rams earlier. They've got their weapons back. Seahawks are 4-4. Oh, hey. And that's another fun, like, interdivisional matchup. So it should be competitive. And I don't know. Are the Rams just back now? We'll see.
Yeah, I'm curious because they have a good coach. Obviously, Stafford. Like, you want to see them do well.
Yeah.
Most underrated fantasy football player resides on that team. His name's
Kyron Williams. Yeah.
Wow,
Just no
superstar.
respect. It doesn't matter what he does. He's not getting the respect.
If he's
he
on your
deserves.
roster, he's not underrated at all. You
No,
love
you
him.
get it. You
Yes,
get it.
you're like, hey, he's the number 4 running back right now.
Just gets volume and just cashes.
The
it
other
in.
most
He's
underrated
the cashier.
player in fantasy might be on the other team in Kenneth Walker.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's my 2 starting running backs in my 12-man dynasty.
Good for you. You're probably
Thanks.
doing well then.
Yep.
Those guys are awesome.
I mean, I'm 4-4, but
Okay.
that's an honest living.
Yeah. Just wake up, man. I go to work.
Just a blue-collar guy, just a 500 team.
I read DK probably coming back this week too, so that'll be helpful.
Nice.
Colts and Flacco go on the road to take on the Vikings. That's a Sunday night game. Vikings are 5-2 after a 5-0 start, right? They dropped the last 2. Is that right?
I think the fool's gold's starting to wash it out in the
Agreed.
in the old water. Mm-hmm. So you got a situation where I think if you have Jefferson, you're holding him. This is what I'm saying. This is basically based on Sam Darnold. If you can get a different quarterback for him, I would advise it.
If you could, yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody's willing, but
It's the defense. The offense has actually been pretty solid. The defense is finally.
In a dynasty league, who would
Not
you
as
rather have, Anthony Richardson or Sam Darnold?
Anthony Richardson.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. Dynasty.
Yeah.
Okay. I just figured
Yeah.
it was over for Richardson. I'm ready to sell him for a
No.
4th-round pick in 2029.
Last one.
I'll send you that.
I bet you will, hot shot.
The Monday night game, the Bucks go on the road to take on the Chiefs.
That's a good one.
Chiefs are 7-0. The Bucks
They'll
have no
win.
receivers.
It'll be 17-16, and Pat Mahomes will have Daniel Jones' numbers, and they'll still win.
It
still
doesn't matter if Baker has receivers or not.
It
He is
does.
just.
He does. They're just different now.
They're just they're just different ones, and they're
And
tight
he's
ends,
got-
and there's running backs there, and
He's
just
got
still,
Cade Otton.
dude. He just still puts up point. I mean, he was a monster week last week.
I recorded a podcast this morning with Bonzi, the fantasy football junkies. That's the one I do with him, and he brought up, he gives out studs and duds every week. And the dud he put out was Cade Otton, and it's because of that Kansas City defense. So I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but they give up the second most points to opposing tight ends in fantasy on the season.
Isn't that weird how like a number 1 or 2 defense has a weakness, and there it is?
Right, and there it is. Opposing tight ends are lighting up the Chiefs' defense. I mean, just for fantasy points every week. So they might not get much going on the ground because the Chiefs shut down the run like nobody's business, but those dump-off passes to Cade Otton will be there. And Rachaad White, who's been catching a lot of passes. The last few weeks out of the backfield, Rachaad White has actually been really good as a receiver.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's the Monday night game. Chiefs still win, but I agree. It'll be just an ugly
what a stinker.
Yeah.
And remember, some of those teams, whenever we look at the points scored against, they're good teams. Like the Chiefs are winning, so other teams are having to throw. So they're throwing to they're trying to come back and win.
They're
and then
giving
we look
them
at
the
them,
tight end.
We're like, oh, they're not as good. Like, well, that's because they were winning the whole game, and then the team was trying to make a comeback.
Yeah. And when you have Chris Jones in your backfield, just right in your quarterback's face every time he snaps the ball, the only thing he can do is throw it to the closest guy, who is the tight end.
Yes.
So the tight end and the running back are the closest guys.
The Ravens are one of the worst against the pass right now, which they had a couple corners out this past week, but it's also because they had been winning all the games, so teams are trying to throw to get back into it. So, they give up some points in because they're not running against them.
There you go. Fellas, we've done it. Big Dan,
Yo.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Thanks, fellers.
Glad we got to hang out with you and record a podcast on your birthday.
It's pretty special.
I agree. 45. Looks good on you, pal.
Woo!
Remember the 90s, everyone.
I saw a picture of Tony Bennett. You know who that is? When he was 40? I would have called him Sir. So we're aging well, boys.
Yeah, I agree.
We're aging well.
All right. Good luck this week. We'll see you next week. Fantasy football for real. Love you guys.
Touchdown.